Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're gonna take care of this really cool Irene Dobkin. This is an Phalaenopsis. It's a cross between a Phalaenopsis and an Ascocentrum, so a Vanda and a Phal crossed together. That is quite special. The problem is this orchid is a little sickly, to say the least. We have some dead roots here at the bottom. The mother orchid is slowly dying off, as you can see. But I do have some Keikis here, so I want to intervene. I want to either remove the Keikis, either remove like the mother plant if the Keikis can be connected through a little bit of a stem. We'll see. I don't know what's going on in this pot. It's been 2 years since it's potted here. Time to repot anyway. But I don't know what I'm gonna find. The Keikis, they do have tiny little roots. Do you see them? Right here. I think we can save it. I think it's gonna be okay, but I also think it's gonna be interesting to see what we're gonna do. So I thought I would take you along because you never know what we can learn. All right, so with that said, don't forget to give this video a like if you end up enjoying it and learning something. And hey, why not subscribe? I post multiple times a week on all sorts of plants. Right, let's just get ready. I need my gloves. Alrighty, so prior to repotting, I made sure to properly soak the pot. I'm not entirely sure if we do have any live roots. I think I see something in here. Anyway, if there's anything alive, I do want it to be flexible. It's always a good idea to soak pots or water your orchids before repotting. Now, let's think about a theoretical instance. Let's say that all of these roots were not dead, they were alive. They were at some point, and they were coming out of the drainage and out of the ventilation holes. Do we cut the pot or do we cut the roots or damage the roots in the process? Well, I actually have a video about it. If you just want to see it, check it down below. But if you want the short answer, I always cut the roots, not the pots. Because roots can grow back, pots cannot. And especially because they're plastic, they have a long life in them actually. They're perfectly fine. If I already know the orchid will produce new roots and me damaging a few roots will not necessarily mean much in the grand scheme of the root system, then why mess up the pot? Usually if roots come out of the pot, there are other roots inside the pot, more actually, so we can actually give up some of the roots for the benefit of ourselves, our money, and the environment at the end of the day. If you will, orchids grow on trees, plastic pots don't. Sorry, that was a cheeky joke. Right, so I'm gonna press a little on the pot and just pull up the orchid. As I was saying, I don't care much about these roots because they're already gone. Let's see what we have here. Well, I do see one live root here and another one here, but all of the roots of the mother plant are just not alive anymore, and I have a bird on my camera. Honey, I'm filming. You wanna direct the scene? There we are. Look, Maya, look what I did. Today we're directing a horror movie. Are you sure you wanna be here? Right, so my suspicion is that all of the roots of the mother plant completely died, and what I have here are the roots of the Keikis. It certainly looks like that. By the way, whoops. My birds are in that phase of theirs where they love each other. They might sing a lot throughout this video. Sorry, I'm gonna cut out in editing as many as I can. I'm gonna leave enough for it to be nice, but not very distracting because it's very distracting, as you can see. All right, so what actually happened to the mother plant? I really don't know. At some point, it stopped growing. It appeared like it had some crown rot, but not really. The crown started to grow again, but it's not really growing vigorously. So I thought either thrips, either something wrong with the crown. And as you can see, it tried to grow another leaf, then it stopped. Slowly but surely, it's just going away. It's losing leaves, it's just not looking okay. And all of the roots, as you can see, they are just gone. They're mushy, they're rotten. Who knows what happened actually? To be fully honest, this particular hybrid has a bad reputation. People say it's kind of finicky. I will have to agree. It's definitely not as easy to grow as a Phalaenopsis, and I would say not as easy as a Vandaceous orchid, as an Ascocentrum. I actually do have an Ascocentrum, and it is a joy to grow, so something went terribly wrong with this hybrid. All right, so I got a pruners ready. I'm just gonna cut away some of these old roots just to better see what I'm doing here. But yeah, all of these roots are actually coming from the mother plant. They're not from the keikis. The keikis are the only ones with some good roots. Not the best, as you can see. Even the new roots started to suffer because of the mother plant roots. As they decay, as they break down, the roots, as well as other organic matter, become acidic and pretty much spoil the entire environment for the other roots. So that's why it is always a great idea to repot an orchid that has root rot or has a broken down medium. Yeah, I do see quite a few roots from the keikis being affected as well. But the thing is, only sections of the roots of the keikis are affected. So it's not coming from them. It's coming from the environment the roots were growing in. I'm a little late with repotting this orchid, but hey, better late than never, I guess. All right, so now I can better see what's going on here. I honestly don't want to keep the mother plant because it's just not growing. So I'm just gonna try to separate the keikis by prying them apart. Let's see how this goes. I cannot cut anything. Oh, that was super easy. Alrighty, so here we go. It's a dead root, but the other roots are looking fine. And let me just give you a close-up. Ouch. I actually have brand new root tips, and also these roots, they're branching out. Do you see? Yeah, so this guy will be just fine. And now for the next one. This keiki does not look so good, I have to say. It does not have nearly as many roots. But yeah, it only has one little root, but that is okay. Now, given the exact same conditions, I'll have to say that if the keikis did not have roots, I wouldn't have separated them. The mother plant was still feeding them. She was depleting herself to feed them. But at this point, it's doing more harm than good with all of these rotten roots. So the sooner they got separated, the better. But the condition was the keikis needed to have some roots so that they can live on their own. Right, so let me get rid of all of these things here, and I'm actually going to wash the pot and reuse it. It's big enough for both of them, and it's a perfectly good pot. I do believe it's worth saving the pot wherever you can. Alright, so the medium we're going to be using is going to be the exact same one, and this is a combination between sphagnum moss and bark chips. It is pretty much the standard potting mix that I'm using with all of my orchids. And let's just see. Okay, I can definitely place this one. The other one has shorter roots. Okay, let's see. Yep, there we go. I decided to pot both of these keikis together because hopefully they will do good now, and I'm gonna have double the chances of blooms because this orchid creates really, really beautiful blooms. It's such a good combination of Phalaenopsis and Vivacious orchids. The problem is, not many hybrids have been made. I'm wondering if it's because the genetics just don't match all that well, and maybe many, if not most of the hybrids obtained were just not vigorous, and maybe they were prone to having all sorts of issues like this one. This is just speculation. I don't know anything for a fact, but I'm wondering, since this one does have this bad reputation, and yeah, my experience with it is not particularly great, is it? Some slow release fertilizer is whale. I'm using Osmocote Pro High K. I am listing the products that I typically use on all of my videos description. Just check the description if you're interested in the bark I use, the moss I use. Somebody's happy. Yeah, in the past couple of years, I always list it in the description. If the video is much older though, I cannot guarantee. From time to time, I do receive comments on my very old videos from 2013 or 2014, 15, that era, asking me to fix either audio, either something with the quality. And well, it's been 8 years. It's a little too late to fix that video. Yeah, people just don't look at the upload date. I think it's quite striking because the quality is so bad. For the era, it was okay. Back then on YouTube, there weren't too many people doing high quality videos because monetization wasn't really a thing like it is now. When I started my YouTube channel, monetization was not available in my country. After a while, it became available, but it took a lot of time for me to actually make anything. So obviously, most YouTubers were filming with their phones or camcorders or whatever they had, so the quality wasn't that good. Compared to today's standards, people immediately see the difference in quality, obviously, so they demand more quality. But back then, we were kind of mostly all the same. So yeah, quality wasn't very great. So if you see something that has some issues with the sound or the quality of the image or things of the sorts, just check the upload date. Most probably it's an old video. And don't worry, nowadays I did up my quality, obviously. I invested part of my revenue in the quality of my videos as well, but yeah, it's a bit like a time capsule. But yeah, generally speaking, check the upload date, because there might be a technical and historical reason why the quality was so bad. Luckily though, it has been addressed. Alrighty, from one blab to another, our orchid is done. This one, she's a little low in the pot. I'm gonna bring her up a little bit. There we go. Okay, I think we are looking okay. I'm gonna write the month of the repot, so I know for the slow release fertilizer, I need to replenish it once a year or so. I'm gonna give this orchid a good watering, and then she will reside in this decorative pot, which is much, much lighter than the older pot. It is much more suited for the Visto shelves that have glass shelves. And you can find these things at IKEA. They're called something. Hold on. There you go. You can pause and check that name out at IKEA. And there we have it. And here we are, the orchid is done. Now, regarding what happened to the mother plant, I obviously don't know. I have quite a few orchids that I managed to save Keikis from that simply lost their mother plants to various unknown reasons. And that's the thing with plants. We're not biologists and we don't have labs to completely investigate what has happened. Sometimes it's just going to remain an unknown. We can have some suspicions, but the best that we can do is try to take the best care that we can for these orchids. And no matter what has happened, the course of action is pretty much the same. Whether this orchid suffered from root rot, dehydration, transplant shock, you name it, the course of action is absolutely the same. Most of the times it doesn't matter. The outcome is the same. We lost roots, the roots are rotting, we need to get rid of them, we need to repot the orchid. We are losing the crown or the stem, we need to save the keikis. The causes matter less, unless we're talking about an ailment that passes on to the keikis, which is a different story. Other than that, it really doesn't matter. Save the keikis and hope for the best, and sometimes it works out. Example, my Schilleriana here, this is a keiki, the mother plant just melted away. Why? I don't know. I asked her, she did not respond. So what happened was the edges of the leaves started to wrinkle and just melt. They didn't yellow, they didn't dry, they didn't rot. I didn't see any sunken spots or wet spots. You know what I'm talking about? That is an infection. No, she was just removing the moisture from within and feeding this keiki without any apparent reason. It had roots, it had the crown. I don't know why it melted. It's a mystery, but I saved the keiki and look at her now. She's healthy and she didn't do what the mother plant did. Hopefully she will not do it in the future, but yeah, do I know what happened? No. Did I save the keiki? Yeah, I'm happy. Alrighty, so that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me today, and I hope you have a great day. Subscribe to my channel for more orchid videos, tutorials, experiments, updates, and other fun orchid subjects. If you wish to support the channel, do consider becoming a member or visit the merch store linked down below in the description. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook. It's always nice to stay in touch there as well. And with that said, I'll see you next time. Bye!